And because I'm an artist, I'm of course interested in what Robert Longo, the artist, has to say here, what he's trying to get to. But even more important to me is my reflection of this work. I think once art is made, once it's made, it's done. He's done. He's gone through this process. It's now ours. It's now ours to say, what does this piece inspire me? How does this piece possibly change my perspectives? So it's within this work that I feel there's so many possibilities. What kind of reflection do you have from this? How does it make you feel? Oh, I know. That is something we do not ask in education. How do you feel?
The attack dog with the friendly face. The German Shepherd is sort of an attack police dog, but he looks so friendly. His texture, he just wants
but we don't.
Yeah, he goes, am I doing it right? You know, he's kind of like alert and kind of like, yeah, this is good. Treat.
The whole thing to me has a very false sense of security, because you have the grip of the man, which is a secure grip. You have the friendly dog, and in the immortal words of Eddie Murphy, see that dog there, do he bite? Because I've seen a German Shepherd attack another animal, and that looked just as friendly as that. So there's this false sense of security, I think.
I don't know how many of you are familiar with the play and the movie Cabaret, where the music, the dancing was going on inside the cabaret, and outside the world was crumbling. You've got them, they're dancing. But in the meantime, there's the silo, people protesting. It's like, and then the dog's like, here's the happiness, but the world is crumbling. All that. Even Reagan, I equate him with the Cold War and the problems that he worried about the death of the silos. They really came during the Reagan period. So, and there's the dog then enforcing it. So there's peace and there's other problems.
You have a well-trained dog and you have well-trained women who are being held by these men who are faceless. The people are, even the way they're arranged it's almost, it's a very uniform kind of arrangement. It's like the only woman who's even remotely tilted towards us is the one on the far right. But they're all in the same pose. The men have the same grip. You have the dog over here who looks like he's waiting for an order, you know. So, and then meanwhile you have these images almost like these are the things that are going on perhaps in the back of the minds of the people who are dancing. Or maybe these are things they're ignoring or that just are not part of their world. So their job is to, especially the women, because those are the things we see most prominently aside from the dog, is look nice, enjoy yourself, ignore all these things floating around you in the darkness.
So I think when I go through a scale of looking at work, I search, I look for everything, and then I go through a reflection. How's it making me feel? What am I seeing? Just like you did. And then I go through discovery. How does this change my perspective? How does it place me in the world that I live in? How does this dog, this watchdog, which is holding steadfast, making sure that nothing changes, that it is the same, that we keep the same perspective as we go through life. So what do I mean by that? You know, I mean, and then it also gives me a chance to discover, my gosh, what if this was a poodle? What if this dog here was a little chihuahua and the background color was pink? What if these styles were like loose clothing and it was people of color and they were more abstract, they were more asymmetrical, they weren't so symmetrical, not a European aesthetic, but what if we had an African aesthetic here? How would this change? And I think that that's one thing that I'm thinking about, is that I don't want this picture here to throw me into a white art, black art, or anything like that. But what I want it to do is to challenge how I think and how I feel. I want it to challenge I want this dog to say, so you think that spending so much money on our military right now is really, really important? Are we upholding what? You know, do you think that You know, what other aesthetics or what other issues are going on right now? What does this dog, is this dog keep holding steadfast the rules and regulations of our society, preventing us from seeing a different perspective, or challenging, just challenging? You know, how about global warming? Is this dog holding fast and saying, no, you're going to be driving your SUVs, don't worry about it, don't worry about it? Is this dog going to say, stock arms, yes, we should have semi-automatics in every household, don't you realize that's important? I mean, what is this dog saying? What is this dog upholding? And I think that to me is what stimulates me, is here, just through these little tiny windows, we get these glimpses of the whole world as one. And that's what we don't want to segregate out. He segregated it so well. And I think that's why looking at this painting, it's about how does art prevent us from always putting ourselves into boxes? And isn't that the whole point of art, is to expand and expose? Isn't this to make us hurt? Isn't this to make us feel horrible, so that we can start to maybe, possibly think about change in a different way? Or maybe not to always say yes to everything. Or is this really true? Are we upholding, Obama in a box here? You know, how are we looking at our Supreme Court right now? You know, how are we looking at nations all over? Syria, how are we looking at Syria right now? How are we, it's just these things that you kind of keep trying to figure out, like, wow, do I have a global expansion here? And have I isolated myself and kept myself dancing around my living room?
Well, I think the fact that their backs are to us makes it pretty clear that they are not interested in becoming engaged, that they have closed themselves off from all of the distressing images that we see.
Body language, right? If I'm talking to you, I'm exposing myself. If I don't feel like talking to you, you get my back.
Or seeing you. Or
right. And another thing is, when do you ever turn your back? When you feel totally comfortable. When you feel like you're totally in control. When you feel you're powerful. When you feel you're completely white and you're going to dominate the situation. And that's what you see here, is nothing but a white art form right now. And that's why it's challenging us on all levels to say, wait a minute, is this about segregation here? But of course, with these other little windows coming through, are we segregating ourselves globally? Are we segregating ourselves from our neighbors, from our community? I mean, I hated it. I mean, I have to be honest with you. I go, oh God, I cannot look at this. I mean, I was almost acting like these dancers, going, I can't get close to this. I'm just angry. This piece makes me so mad. And then again, that was like, wait a minute, go back, search. What's making you mad? Where's the anger coming out? And then there was the reflection to back up, trying to understand and grip and take it. My third thing for art, when we're looking at art, is discovery. So in this very brief time, we have like about 2-3 more minutes left. What have we discovered? What have we discovered? Not about the painting, but about ourselves. How has this piece pushed us into discovering something possibly new about ourselves?
Well, that implies that there's something that we never really thought about before, and I don't think that's the case here. I think it reminds us of things we've pushed out of our minds as well. I haven't discovered something that I didn't know, but I've rediscovered something that I have visited in the past, and it's jarring to do that.
From back here, the thing's very lyrical. We read left to right, music is left to right, and you have the dog looking to the right. You have the dancing, which is getting ready to turn back around to the right, and then it runs through it again. It'd be totally different if it was the opposite. It wouldn't have a lyrical circular pattern to it.
Now I'm really depressed. Jenny, what were you going to say?
Well, this reminds me of a really emotional breakthrough I had when I went to Costa Rica to take dance lessons and broke down in tears on the dance floor. And it took me a while to figure out what I was even crying about, and what it was a realization that all my life I had been taught to believe that I could only dance if I waited for someone to invite me. And it was like 10 years ago that I discovered I can dance whenever I want to. And this reminds me of, you know, how I lived my life for so many years. But now I dance whenever I want to. It's liberating.